In today's chess video, I'll be sharing some intriguing chess opening tricks and traps specifically related to the Greco Gambit. But wait, there's more. I've got an intriguing chess puzzle waiting for all of you. Be sure to stick around until the end to enjoy the complete experience. Let's kick things off with the king's pawn opening, which begins with e4, e5. We then proceed with knight to f3, followed by knight c6, bishop c4, which is the Italian opening. Next, we see bishop c5, a move characteristic of the Giuoco piano game. At this point, black is poised to develop their knight and potentially castle kingside. However, we'll deviate from the standard path by playing pawn to c3, a move that prepares to establish a strong presence in the center of the board. In response, black chooses knight to f6, putting pressure on the e4 pawn. Instead of defending the e4 pawn with d3, we opt for d4, directly challenging black's bishop. From this position, it becomes crucial for black to capture the pawn on d4 since it's under attack. If black decides to save the bishop instead of taking the pawn, they might face some tactical consequences. We can exploit this decision by capturing the pawn on e5, which prompts black to respond with knight takes e4. Now, we unveil a brilliant tactical sequence with queen to d5, simultaneously threatening checkmate and putting pressure on black's knight. Even if black attempts to disrupt our position with bishop to f2 check, we can calmly move our king, and after black's next move, we have the opportunity to capture their knight. Hence, in this particular position, it becomes imperative for black to capture the pawn on d4. We, in turn, recapture with the c-pawn. Now, if we examine the board, we see that the e-pawn is vulnerable, and black would ideally like to capture it. However, there's a complication because black's bishop is under attack, so saving the bishop becomes a priority. One effective move in this situation is to deliver a check, like so. Now, even if we make a seemingly natural move like knight to c3, black can still seize the e-pawn because our knight is pinned, and we cannot capture black's knight. This strategic sequence illustrates how we enter into the Greco Gambit, where we willingly sacrifice a pawn in anticipation of gaining a favorable position and potential advantages in the future. Now, the situation becomes a bit more intricate. As white, we opt for the short castle, a move that brings our king to safety. This is a pivotal moment where black must make a critical decision: should they capture with the knight or the bishop? What would be your choice in this position? Many might be inclined to play knight takes on c3, as it seems like an attractive option to retain both bishops. This move appears natural since it preserves the bishop pair and results in black having an extra pawn, as illustrated here. However, let's examine the historical data. In this position, when we analyze the games, we discover that more than 13,000 players have previously gone for knight takes on c3. Interestingly, this move often places white in a highly advantageous position. After knight takes on c3, white responds with pawn takes on c3, and if black then captures the bishop with bishop takes on c3, they find themselves in a precarious situation, as they become completely trapped. The move bishop to c3, while quite common in this position, is actually a significant mistake. If you look at the statistics, you'll notice that white wins nearly 70% of the games from this point onward. It's intriguing because even though white is 2 pawns down and their rook is under attack, there are numerous attacking opportunities against the exposed black king. Take a look at black's king. It's positioned in the open, and our goal is to keep it there. One effective move is queen to b3, which attacks the vulnerable f7 pawn. However, after black plays d5, they can manage to defend and potentially castle kingside. To prevent this scenario, the absolute best move for white in this position is bishop to a3. What makes this move so effective is that it immediately thwarts any hopes of black castling kingside. Allow me to illustrate some common lines and how white can establish dominance in each of these variations. One of the most straightforward lines involves black capturing the rook with the bishop, followed by white's rook moving to e1 check. Black typically blocks with the knight, and then white captures the knight with the rook, delivering another check. In response, black often has to sacrifice their queen. If black chooses to move their king to f8, white can play rook to f7 check, forcing the king to move to g8, followed by rook to d7, delivering a beautiful checkmate. Even if black chooses this path, we can still deliver a check with the queen, resulting in a checkmate. Even if black opts for a different path and doesn't immediately take the rook, but instead plays pawn to d5, white can simply relocate their bishop, keeping black's king stuck in the center. Black won't be able to castle due to the presence of the white bishop. Even if black eventually captures the rook, the key is to activate all your pieces and launch multi-directional attacks. By maintaining relentless pressure on black's king, you will eventually break through. In another scenario, if black attempts to block the dark-squared bishop with d6, white can counter by attacking black's bishop with their rook. After a series of well-calculated attacking moves, white can gain a material advantage by capturing one of black's pieces. To summarize, in this position, white consistently maintains the upper hand due to the commanding presence of their active pieces, which overpower black's pieces, often relegating them to passive roles throughout the game. Now, let's consider how black should approach this gambit. Instead of capturing with the knight, black should opt to capture with the bishop first. This choice has a significant advantage. After pawn takes on c3, black doesn't face any immediate threats. Previously, when the knight captured first, the bishop was exposed to attack by the pawn, forcing black to capture. However, this time, it's a different story. Rather than rushing to capture the pawn, black can neutralize potential attacks along the diagonals by playing a move like d5. This move solidifies the center and simultaneously targets white's bishop. Additionally, the knight remains on the e-file, preventing direct checks by white's rook or queen. Following the bishop's retreat, black can safely castle, securing their king and gaining an extra pawn in the process. Due to this solid defense by black, the classical line of the Greco Gambit is not frequently seen at the grandmaster level. Nevertheless, this gambit can prove highly effective against beginner and intermediate level players who may not be familiar with it and are more likely to fall into its tactical traps. Now, it's time for a puzzle. In the given position, it's white's turn, and you need to find the best move for white. Share your answers in the comments, and let's see how many of you can solve it correctly. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with future videos. Take a moment to check out the other videos appearing on your screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care and peace.